Newport Public Library. Welcome to Kids in the Kitchen. Today we're going to make awesome taco pasta. But before we get started, remember there's a few things you need to do. Make sure to wash your hands. Make sure your worker areas are clean. And if you have long hair, can you pull it back? All right, let's get started. Some of the ingredients in this awesome taco pasta is going to be rotini. You could use any noodles you want, whatever you have on hand. Taco seasoning, a half a pound of ground beef, some salsa, some sour cream, some Mexican cheese, whatever kind you want, and some green and red pepper. So let's step over to the stove and start cooking our noodles and cooking our ground beef. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, my water is boiling to boil my noodles. So I'm going to put 2 cups of noodles in my hot boiling water. Don't worry if you lose a few. They'll fall right in. 1 and 2. So I'm going to let these boil for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to drain them into colander. This is a colander. I don't know if you can see that. It's got holes in the bottom. And then I'm going to let them cool for a couple minutes. And then we'll continue on cooking our beef. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay, while our pasta noodles are cooking for our 10 minutes, let's cut up our green pepper. I've already cut up the red pepper, but I'm going to cut up the green with you. It's a half a cup of red and a half a cup of green. The way I like to cut up peppers is I like to sort of carve it on the outside, because then all the seeds stay together on the inside and I don't have so many everywhere. Now when you're going to drain your noodles, you probably want to ask an adult or a grown-up to help you, because we don't want anyone to get burned. And since they are boiling, they are very, very hot. All right. And I'm just guessing what a half a cup is. You can measure if you want, but I'm just guessing. I would say, 2/3 of a pepper maybe. It depends on the size of your pepper. And maybe you don't like pepper. Or maybe you like red better than you like green, so you could substitute. Just like the ground beef, if you don't want to put ground beef in, you could also put in chicken. That would work too. Okay, and see how all my seeds are still inside. And my pepper is diced. All right, I'm going to go back and check my noodles. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, our noodles are cooked. So now we're going to brown up our ground beef. So let's move our ground beef pan up. Move our noodles back so we can still easily get to them. So let's turn our stove back on. Again, you might want to have an adult help you with some of this. Since we're cooking meat, it'll be very, very hot. I've put my meat, a half a pound of ground beef. I happen to use grass-fed beef, but you could use whatever kind of beef you want. Putting it in my pan. I really like cast iron pans because it browns everything so evenly. And I'm not putting any oil in this because there's always oil in the beef. So we'll just cook it up slowly without it. So I finished cutting up my peppers, so they're going to go in pretty soon too. And once this is browned up, then we're going to add our taco seasoning. So I'm going to open it up. Now it says 1 to 2 tablespoons. It depends on how spicy you like things. If you like it a little spicier, put in 2. If you don't like it very spicy, put in 1. You also could make your own taco seasoning. If you go online, there's many, many recipes on how to make your own. Sometimes I make my own, but today for convenience, I just used a package. So you want your ground beef, everything to look brown. No more red or pink. There you go. I think you can see a little better. It's getting there. You just break it up with a spoon. And you don't have to have a really hot stove. If you have it a little lower, then there's not so much spattering. It'll just take a little bit longer. And every couple minutes, give it a stir. Now the recipe says to take and drain the oil, but I use pretty lean ground beef, so there's really not much oil in here. Okay, this looks pretty brown to me. So now I'm going to add my taco seasoning. And it says 1 to 2. I like things spicy, so I'm going to add 2. 1. The taco seasoning I'm using today is a low sodium, but you can do whatever kind you like. 2. And then to that, I'm going to add some water. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water. 1, 2. Stir it all together. Put it down a little bit. It's like taco meat. I'm going to turn my stove down. Next, I'm going to add my noodles. These were 2 cups of noodles. And I'm going to add my peppers, my red and green peppers. Isn't that pretty looking? Then I'm going to add my sour cream. And my sour cream is 2/3 of a cup. So I'll do that next. And then my salsa. 2/3 of a cup. This is 2/3 of a cup measuring cup. Okay. A little bit more. There's about 2/3 of a cup. Putting that in. And last, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of salsa. I'm just using Taco Bell salsa. You can use whatever salsa is your favorite. 1, 2, 3. Let's stir this all in. Who doesn't like Mexican? I'm going to stir it in, and then I'm going to turn my stove up a little bit. Because the last thing I put in is some cheese, but I want to stir this in first. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I think it's nice and hot. Doesn't it look good? These out of the way. Replace it with some cheese. The last thing we're going to put on it is some cheese, some grated Mexican cheese. But you could use whatever cheese you have, whatever cheese you like. But we want to get it nice and hot, so when we put the cheese on, it'll melt. Now this recipe says it makes 4 servings. Now you could put the cheese on individually as you put it in the bowl, or you could put it on at the stove. It's up to you. I'm going to put mine on at the stove. And put on as much as you want. I probably have a cup and a half. I don't think I'll use all this, but there we go. All right, I'll join you over at the table and then we'll serve it up. Welcome back. Our awesome taco pasta is ready to be eaten. So let's serve some up. Our cheese is all melted. Let's put some in a bowl. There you go. Have a wonderful lunch or dinner. See you next time. Bye-bye.